So we're still on site where the trim work is separating from the bonus room knee wall. We're up in the attic up above the second floor now. So in the first video we were talking about, well, showing the thermal camera and trying to figure out how to get behind that wall. Now that we're in the attic, well, found a spot to get behind the wall. So now I'm down here in this little space, and just like we thought, there's missing insulation where the thermal camera was showing us there was missing insulation. So remember, if you're doing an inspection or an energy audit and you ask someone else to get into a tight space, also make sure that you too can access the tight space, because this is a small one, but look how big it is when you get in here. This would have been a great fort for me as a little kid. So here's right where we're having the majority of the problems on the other side of the wall, and missing insulation. Looks like there used to be an access here, and missing insulation up there. That was right behind the lamp. You also have a return box that isn't insulated and is definitely leaking. That's pulling air right from the attic. Same thing here, that discoloration and the fiberglass insulation, that's because air's getting pulled through it as it gets sucked into this return and then gets pulled down into the garage. So many times in a home with complex framing, you can get down into these spaces like this from an area up above. And it's so much better than going through a drywall because, well, I don't like cutting through drywall, and I definitely don't want to mess with somebody's decorative trim. But if you can climb down here and get access to this whole area, I can do it with as little bit of invasion to the customer as possible. Good. Go. Usually I don't have anybody to film me do that. Another attic space over the second floor. Here is the collar tie over the bonus room. It just was. So this is R30 bad insulation, but really it's probably performing like less than R19 because of all the inconsistencies in it. Found another area where there's no insulation. So even though we're kind of out here to look at a particular problem, which is an aesthetic feature, all of these things are intertwined because the house is a system. And so if we address one area, it's going to have an impact in some way, shape, or form on another. And in particular, those areas in the knee walls in the front of the house, we want to make sure that we address those in full, because if we do one side and not the other, the problem is just going to transfer from one side to the other and probably get worse on the side that hasn't been treated.